So PSGI is a way to abstract a web application from the web server. If your web application is PSGI compatible, it means you can deploy everywhere. You can deploy with FastCGI, with Apache 2, with Nginx, with Lite, with everything. So Dancer is compliant with PSGI, which is also a good feature too. Nowadays, every web framework in Perl are PSGI compliant. Catalyst, Modulicious, WebSimple, everywhere. More precisely, Dancer is what we call a DSL. It means a domain-specific language. The idea is when you use Dancer to build a web app, you have a set of keywords. It's like of an extension of the Perl language, specialized for web application. We will see that in a moment. So Dancer is basically a DSL. And the main idea behind Dancer is that you will describe your application as a root registry. You will map path to your application to code to execute. We will see that. It's also made in the idea to be very intuitive. Everything should be self-explanatory when you write code with Dancer. And it's very thin. It's a very lightweight layer over your code. It doesn't get on your way. When you want to write your web application, the idea is you just have to focus on what your application does, not on all the dirty cooking you have to do to deal with web clients. So now that we've seen what Dancer is, I'm going to explain to you how it came to life. The project started in 2009. So it's 2 years old, and this is the origins, actually, of the web development with Perl. So everything started with CGI API. And what is CGI? I don't know if you can see here, but this is a typical CGI application. The first thing you do, of course, you use CGI. Then you have to build an object. Actually, it will pass the incoming request in the environment. And then you have a lot of cooking to do to find out what the client wants. So basically, this is dispatching code. And once you have dispatched the request, you are able to print a response. You have to do this by hand whenever you do CGI. And this is really not a good way to build a web application nowadays. It's slow because for every request you will do every time the same job. It's unmaintainable because you have to take care of everything which is understanding the request that is incoming and reading the response, dispatching actions, and it's really boring. But then came into play what we call a big sister, Catalyst. Catalyst is really a huge web framework, very powerful, but as you can see, this is just a hello world with Catalyst, and it's just a part of the application. It's rather complicated, if you ask me. So it's very powerful framework, very, very scalable, but well, you have to pay a price, and this price is complexity. You cannot have a very simple application. So the idea is, why not making things simple and fun? And then the inspiration came from Ruby. The part of the community in Ruby made a micro framework called Sinatra. And when I saw the framework, I just told myself, well, we really need that for Perl. It's so clean. This is a hello world in Sinatra. You use Sinatra, and you declare a route that will match the HTTP method get, the path /a, and what the server will send is the string hello world. It's just a working web server with this one. So, what about doing that with Perl? It's Dancer. So you can see we have mapped what they did with Ruby, with Perl. This was the main idea at first when Dancer started. It was meant to be a backport of Sinatra to Perl. But very quickly, Dancer evolved throughout its own life. So now it's not a port anymore. It's just inspired by Sinatra. So now we'll see in details what you can do with Dancer. First of all, the key features I already told you is expressiveness. You will see in the. I will show you some examples of code. It's very expressive, effortless. The idea is that you should not be worried about how the dirty things work. You just have to focus on what you want your web application to be. It's also very modular. You will see that all the main parts of Dancer can be changed. For instance, we've seen just before with Alex session handling in encrypted cookie. You can use that to handle your session, but you can also use Memcache or maybe YAML files if you want to have a session engine. For development purpose, you will see that you can change everything, and it's also like it. So how to dance? So I'm not showing you how to dance physically, but with Perl code. So first of all, the installation steps is very easy. We try to make the dependencies very low, but we don't want Blazor to rewrite everything. So basically, Tensor has 5 non-core Perl dependencies, which are basically all the HTTP stack. Once you have Tensor, you have your script provides a standalone server, so you don't have anything to configure to start working on your laptop, for instance. And you don't need any configuration because Tensor follows the rules of convention over configuration. You can configure your application, but you don't have to start working with it. Well, the first thing to do to install Tensor is to use cpan. You can use the client cpan-minus. If you don't know it, it's very good. It will install Tensor automatically. Actually, it's a tool to install any cpan distribution you like. And once you have Tensor, you can start playing with it. This is a one-liner, just to show you how things can just work. Don't know if you see the stuff here, but we have here a working Perl application. We launch it in the background, and then you can use curl on localhost on the 3000 port, and we get the string that is written by the subroutine. This is just an example. Of course, you may want to build a more structured application, like a Rails one or a Catalyst one. Tensor provides a helper to scaffold a complete application with JavaScript files, CSS files, configuration files, and all the stuff you may want to have. So you just have to launch Dancer-A, the name of your app, and you will have a directory name like that. And you will have a startup script in /bin that you can use to launch the application. This is very good for development, but what about deploying? When your application is ready, well, it's not a problem at all, thanks to PSGI. We can deploy everywhere, so PSGI could deserve a whole talk on itself, so that's not the scope of this talk. But I advise you to go to blackpearl.org if you are interested about what PSGI is. So this is an example. PlackUp is a script provided by Plack, which is PSGI implementation with Perl. And a Tensor application is also a PSGI application. So I can also launch my application with PlackUp. And that means that I can deploy my application with the Plack fast CGI handler, or maybe with light HTTPD or anything I want. So now we will see what we call a root in Tensor, which is the core of your application. A root is basically three things: an HTTP method, a path, and a subroutine to execute. So this is the idea. Get/sub. So when a client requests slash, I will execute this sub. The return value of the sub is the response content to send to the client. This is the main idea. First example is a static route. It means that we just map something that doesn't move, it's always slash something. When I request slash something, I return this string. It's just like the hello world example. But of course you can do more interesting things, like capturing a part of the path. This is done with the column sign. When you do that, you just say that you want to match. It's sort of a simple regex, actually. Slash profile slash something. Something will be named user. And I will be able to access the value that is put here by the client in a special hash table, which is called params. So if I issue slash profile slash Sophia, I will have Sophia in my parameters. I can also use a wildcard if I want. And I will get a capture with a special keyword called splat. Splat comes, the name is a bit strange, but it comes from Sinatra, and it means in English something that's sprayed, actually. So we have this pattern, and we will get two captures in two scalars. And if you want to play like a hardcore gamer, you can use real Perl regex. It just works the same way, except the fact is that it's a real regex this time, so you have to take care of everything, and everything you will match will be in the same idea as before, captured with a splat keyword. You also you can declare a path where you have static files. For instance, if you have CSS, JavaScript, HTML files, you can just put them in a directory and just tell Dancer with the set keyword, we will show later what it is, that you have a public directory over there. That way you don't have to build a route to serve static files. So, as you may have seen, there is a set keyword. So what is set? A Dancer application has a configuration registry. It's completely hidden if you don't want to use it, but it exists if you want to. You have three ways to configure an application. The first way is in your code, with a set keyword. It's just very straightforward. Set key value. When you do that, you set a value to the key you given to set, and Dancer will run and load. You also have a possibility to store your configuration in YAML files. The first one that Dancer will look for is config.yml. This one is meant to be a global configuration file. And you also have the facility to put environment-specific configuration file in the environment directory. By default, a Dancer application is launched under the development environment. That means that it will look for config first, and then for environment/development.yml. Anything you put there will override what is in config. This is a very cool way to have, for instance, in development mode, a session in YAML files, and in production mode, a session, for instance, in cookie or in Memcache. This is a very easy way to achieve it. And with configuration, you will be able to change everything you want. If you want to change the template, you will see that there is also a template support. You can change the template engine, the logger engine. You can configure plugins in this file also. And you have also a lot of syntactic sugar for building the web app. We will see a part of it. First, you can get the request object with a request keyword. And you have everything you can dream of in this object. For instance, here, it's an example to how to proceed a file that has been uploaded to the server. You just add an accessor called upload, and you will get the upload. And there are a lot of stuff in request like user agent or HTTP referrer. Anything you have in the environment of the HTTP request will be accessible here with a smartphone. You also have the ability to build filters. For instance, before filters will be executed before each request. And you can catch the incoming request, you can change it, you can do some code, some initialization stuff. Like here, for instance, we suppose we have a database handle connected at the startup time, and we want to make sure we can always ping it before serving a request. This is just a pseudocode. So if the ping success, we just return the filter. That means the answer will go back to find the route that match the request, and if not, we will reconnect it. You of course have templates, because if you want to build a complex application, you don't want to send HTML by hand. So you have a template engine you can change. Yeah, there are a lot of engines supported, like Template Toolkit, Mason, or we even have non-malicious templates supported. And then in your action, you can just call a template with a view and a hash table of tokens to interpolate inside your view. The idea is that you can change your template engine without changing the code of your rules. We also have something very useful to build API web services, which is called serializers. Excuse my bad English. The idea is that if a root returns hash or an array, and that you have set a serializer, it will take the object and serialize it with its own rules. In this case, we want JSON. So if we return this structure, we will have this output. And this is very powerful for API or REST web services. Session, of course, it's pretty straightforward. You have a keyword called session, and you can use it to set a value for a key or to get the value that is stored in the session. The same idea again. We can change the engine transparently from the code of your root. It's a common idea in denser implementation. You also have loggers. Again, you can change it and you use it the same way. The logger provides you 3 keywords, debug, warning, error, and it's very useful for development or for debugging. And you have two logger engines by default. It's console, which will print output to your shell where you started the application, and you also have file, which will log stuff in log files. But on cPanel you can download syslog engine and others. The idea of engines is that there are pluggable bricks you can change. And if you want, you can also write your own. These are the 4 interfaces to implement if you want to build an engine. For instance, if you have a new template you want to use, you can just look at the Dancer template abstract class, and you will just have to implement a couple of methods, and then you will be able to use your own engine. And we have also more with plugins. Plugins actually are an extension of the DSL. In this case, we want to build Ajax root, which are roots with some specific rules. So we have a plugin, Dancer plugin Ajax, which allows us to declare this kind of root. And this will match a get or post request, and will expect a header to be present, X requested with, and it must be XML HTTP request. This is a very simple example of what a plugin is. A plugin just provides a new set of keywords. Another example of very popular is database, which will let you configure the connection in your config file, and will provide a database keyword, which will return the database handle. It also provides a lot of useful function to access the database. In this case, we will have a selection of the table users based on the primary key ID. REST, for instance, this plugin can change at runtime for which request the serializer to use, depending on the format the client wants. In this case, you can request user 42.json, you will have a JSON serialization. If you request .xml, you will have an XML serialization, and so on. So you can extend Dancer's DSL, and it's very easy to write your own plugin if you want to. So we've seen the instantials of Dancer's composition. Of course, there is a lot more. This is a short, quick view of what you can find on CPAN. There are a lot of stuff. So currently we have more than 50 distributions on CPAN, and I must say that it grows every day. So we have a very good community, very strong and active. The community in details on GitHub, we have more than 200 watchers, 70 folks. The core team is composed by 5 members. And in the history of Dancer, we have reached 3,000 commits so far, with more than 40 different committers. So you can really trust Dancer to be very active, responsive, and trustable. So I invite you to join the community if you're interested. Feel free. You can follow Pearl Dancer on Twitter. You can also follow us on GitHub if you want to stay tuned with the code. You have a website. We have a mailing list, an IRC channel on irc.pearl. Well, everything is there to welcome you with us if you want. So what about a demo? I don't know how much time I have. 15 minutes. Yeah?
Yeah.
So, well, I already did a demo actually. Because all this presentation was made with Dancer. Actually, I've made this presentation with a small software called Broadway, which is a Dancer application to build slideshow. And I can show you how it's written, just to show you a good example of what we can do. Just changing the colors and the font size. Okay, do you manage to read this way? Okay. But the idea of Broadway is to provide a simple way to show slides. So I will first show you the structure of my application is like a CPAN distribution. And I have actually my environment directory where I have configuration, I have views where I can put my templates, public to store all the static files, and in lib, like in any CPAN distribution, I have my code of my application. In views, you will see that I have some slides. And what is Broadway actually? I don't know, you managed to read it from here? It's okay? Yeah. So I use actually some Ajax root, a root/preview if I want to have a preview, because it also supports smartphone remote control if I want. I can process my template before each request with another filter, which is called before template. Here, I want to detect if the client is a multi-touch agent or not. So if it's an Android or iPhone, I will put a new token in the template. And, well, it's a bit, yeah, okay. And this is the main route, the slash route, which just displays the slideshow template. And in the slideshow template, I will have some JavaScript action, which will call some action here. It's very straightforward. Next, we'll ask Broadway for the next slide, Prev for the previous one, last for the last one, and first for the third one. I also have an Ajax action that can return me the number of the current slide. So in this way, I want to send a JSON response. So you see that I have a keyword content type that I put in my root just to say this response will be JSON. And I can serialize the response with 2 JSON, for instance. It's an example. And well, this is the way it works. I also have small examples, live demos, to conclude the presentation. So here I have a couple. The first one we can see is the serializer. So we said maybe if I put a white background, it will be better. Is it better?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah? Okay. So I use Dancer, I set the serializer to JSON, and I just return an object, a hash table. Okay? And I put dance at the end to start the server. So I will launch this application. So I've launched it in the background. It tells me it's listening on the 3000 port, and I'm ready to request it. So I'm going to request. And I have a JSON response. It's as simple as that. Okay. We have 2 more examples. Yes, I will also show you the config file we have here. We have a config file in the main directory where our apps are, and Dancer will see it. Here we just set the log origin to console, and we set the log level to debug. I'm going to see the logger script. It's very, very simple. It just uses debug and returns 1. So let's launch this one. Same as before, and curl. And we have a logger message on the console. Of course, if I change the logger, it will go, for instance, in a file. And a more complex example for session. So the idea is to remember in the session a username. If I go to my application without a session, I should be redirected to /login, and I should enter a name. So the first thing I do is a before filter, and I want to redirect any request to /login if there is no session. The slash root will display a hello world message for the user stored in the session. And we have, of course, the login form. The first one with the get HTTP method, which will just display a template, login. And finally, a post action on the same route, which will handle the submission. Of course, if the params login is missing, we will send a 401 error, which is unauthorized if I remember that. And if not, if we have, we will just save the login in the session and redirect back to the slash root. I'm just going to show you the view. We have directory views, okay, with a login.tt for template toolkit, and it's a very, very simple HTML fragment with just a form. An input name called login, okay, so it will be sent to the application, and the application will be able to see it with params, and a submit button. Okay, let's try this one. Did I show you that we use the YAML session? Yes, we use the YAML session engine, because we are in development mode. We want a way very easy to see what's inside the session. If we go on production, we can use, for instance, the cookie session we've seen before with Alex. So let's try it. Finally, I launch. Of course, there is already a web server of 3000. I launch this one, and this time I will use my browser. So I suppose it's there. Okay. So I'm not sure if you can see, but I have been redirected to /login. I can do it again. I'm redirected to /login because I have no session.
Can you show the code again? That redirects?
Yes, of course. Session. This is the code that is executed now. I don't have any session, okay? I've just started the application, I don't have any cookie with the session ID. So, I'm in this case, not session user. Session user returns undef there. So, I get here, and Dancer redirects me to /login.
Does this apply to the paths that are inside this package, or is
Yes.
it global to the whole Dancer application?
Actually, it's global to the core, but you can, in the development version of Dancer, you will be able to add a condition to the filters. Actually, you will be able to do before /something.
Before a path?
Yes, you will be able to do that, but not in the current version.
Okay.
Okay, so this is where my rotation comes from. So now I will put a name, and I will put Sophia. I hit OK, so I will get into the post action. Maybe I can just put nothing to get the error. If you see, if I don't have any params at all, I will get error. Okay? I have an error, as expected, it's a good start. And now I hope to enter. Hey there, Sophia. So, I'm supposed to have a session entry now with a value Sophia, okay? And let's see that. As I've chosen the YAML session engine, my sessions are stored in the sessions directory. As you can see, I have one file here. Its name is the session ID I have in my cookie, just like Alex explained before. And the content of the file has two entries, the ID and a value of set, Sophia. Of course, if I hand my session, it will work as expected. So here it is. I'm done with the presentation. I don't know if you have any question I can answer. The one? No?
Yes, how do you, if you have a larger application, how do you split it into different packages?
Actually, you can split just like you would do for any cPanel distribution. If I show you Broadway back, you can use the lib directory to split your roots by scope. And you have also the ability to set a prefix for each package. And to say, you say prefix something, and any root defined after that will be in prefix, for instance. This is a way to do it.
How would Dancer perform if it runs as a plain CGI?
As a plain CGI, well, it's a bit slow because CGI has to execute everything from the start to the end. The best way is to use fast CGI, because anything that is done at startup will be done once and not for each request.
Do you know how it would compare, for example, to Catalyst or Motorlicious or CGI PM?
You mean about performance? There have been a couple of benchmarks recently, and Dancer was in a good position actually. The most effective bench is for pure PSGI application. You can build your PSGI application by hand. This is very fast, but very difficult to maintain as an application. Then you have the very thin layer, like WebSimple, which is also not as simple as it is supposed to be on this name, but very fast. And then you have Dancer, and Motorlicious just after. It's quite the same performances, but Dancer is known to be fast, actually, because it doesn't do a lot of things. It just dispatches a route to a subroutine. So it's not bloated of code. Okay. Thank you.
Ще направим малка почивка 5-10 минути и продължим с моята лекция.